You are listening to the Truth Speaks Network. I'm your host Dylan, and I'm joined by Larry Woods, who is an electrician and is in the search for free energy. Larry, are you with us?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so you wanted to talk about the pyramids and if they were actually a power source or not. But first, can you explain a little bit of what you're working on in terms of free energy?
Certainly. Uh, we have designed a new style of electrical coil. It's an air core toroidal coil. For those of you that don't know what toroidal means, that just means it's shaped like a donut or a bagel, depending on what country you're from. It does not have an iron core to limit and restrict the magnetic field. We have an air core. The pattern is completely unique to the coil industry. Uh, what we've done is, through design, captured all of the magnetic field and eliminated the eddy currents out of a coil. An eddy current is opposition to power flow that creates heat and increases the amperage draw, which makes anything that you're operating cost more money. We've eliminated those out of the coil, and that allows the wire to carry the ampacity that it can carry rather than restricts the ampacity of the wire. Um, an example is 1 volt through 1 ohm of wire yields 1 amp, 111. What we've done, we've put 1.5 volts through 0.46 ohms, a little bit less than half of an ohm of wire, and we get 10 amps. And that's simply by the design of the coil. We've allowed the magnetic field to expand to its full potential and captured that, rotated in the ring of the coil, and that increases the magnetic field in the vortex of the coil, the exact center of the donut, which allows the ampacity to go up by reducing the resistance of the wire magnetically.
That's interesting. Can you also get into... Okay, so can we also get into the question that I had posed at the beginning about the pyramids? Can you explain a little bit about that?
The pyramids were an ancient power source. That's what everybody's thinking, and it's a true thought. Below the pyramids, about 177 meters, is the aquifer. That's the water table where the water flows through. As water flows through rock or granite or any rock, actually, it generates electricity. This electricity is captured in the high silicon content granite that's under the pyramid, that the pyramid is made out of, and transfers that power through these tunnels that go from this chamber on the aquifer up into another chamber that is called the Baghdad battery room, where they found all kinds of batteries, Baghdad batteries. That's the zinc and copper clay pot batteries. Those can be hooked up in series and in parallel to increase both the amperage and the voltage, providing any amperage and voltage that they would need at that time. This power is transferred up through a tunnel into the Queen's chamber. Let's step back a step. These tunnels were not illuminated with fire, with any kind of fire, or there would be carbon black soot, if you will, on the ceilings of all these chambers, and there is none and has never been any found. In fact, inside of the pyramid has such a low oxygen content that you can't even strike a match in there. So fire was not used to illuminate it. If you look on the temple walls at the Temple of Karnak, uh, they have light bulbs that our illustrious Egyptologists say are simply a depiction of the essence, the smell of a lotus flower going out into a room. No, that's not correct. These are light bulbs, and it shows it very, very easy that they're light bulbs. Anyway, these light bulbs will light up just like the fluorescent tubes being carried underneath a high power line. And what that does is it just excites them with an electromagnetic field. So that's how they did it. This power going up into the pyramids through these tunnels is simply transferred through the entire pyramid. Okay, going up from the Baghdad Battery Room into the Queen's Chamber. When that was first opened, there was a strange mineral salt on the walls of the Queen's Chamber. Mineral salt is a residue left from the electrolysis process. And that was tested to try to find out what all was in it, what chemical they were actually using for their electrolysis process, and nobody could figure it out because some of the elements in there weren't elements that we know of. So there's no telling exactly what they had in it. If it were in fact something that made hydrogen, urine will even make hydrogen. So it's water makes hydrogen, lots of stuff make hydrogen. So the chemical used is unknown at this point. But what that did, by creating the gas that they were creating out of it, no matter what it was, that was resonating and circulating through the Grand Gallery, which has got 22 slots in the floor and ceiling, matching slots that were for tuning plates that went into each of these slots so that they could manufacture a specific frequency. This frequency went up into the King's Chamber, still through these same electrically conductive tunnels. In the King's Chamber, it has 5 gigantic stone blocks on the ceiling. Each one of these blocks are perfect on 3 sides, completely smooth. They are finished stones. But on the 4th side, the top, they're pitted and got chunks out of them and drill holes in them. What they did that for was to tune these gigantic blocks to a specific frequency that would resonate in harmony with that coming up through the Grand Gallery. That produced communication. It produced power that was transmitted from the capstone. It did whatever the pyramids actually were meant to do, whether it was teleportation, communication, or simply the transmission of electrical power. All the monoliths in Egypt or around these pyramids come to a point, just like a lightning rod. Those are Tesla collectors, what we would call Tesla collectors. And that's where the people would go and recharge their Ankh and their own personal power supplies. The Ankh and the Horus head is a 2-part power supply. The Ankh is the potential, and the Horus head provides the ground source so that the Ankh will work. The interior of all the pyramids is made out of this electrically conductive granite, and the exterior of the pyramid is covered with a capstone that is non-conductive, which keeps all of the power produced in the pyramid inside the pyramid shape and ejects it exactly at the apex, the top point of the pyramid. Up there was a round donut type shape that was uh, uh, a power amplifier, if you will, and that is where the capstone, the pyramid shaped capstone out of gold, sat to project the power. So that's basically how the pyramid works. I feel very confident that we can restart them with just a very little effort. However, the exact placement north and south has changed because our poles have shifted. And I think that if we did repower them today, that they would not have the same amount of potential that they had back in those days when they were aligned properly with the Earth. What do you think?
I'm really lost on a lot of this stuff, but it does make sense that they were used as a power source. I mean, what other practical use would they have? I mean, I know that they housed the dead, but I figured they would be used for something more.
Yeah, they weren't big coffins. They weren't burial sites. Although many people lost their lives in the construction, possibly, but I do not believe that that's what they were for. I believe that they were a power source and a place of worship because the people back there, the common people, had no idea how these worked. These were strictly done by the religious sect. Uh, the Greek word worship was misspelled when the Bible was translated from Greek. That word should have been spelled workship, workship. The priests who were supported by the people kept the knowledge. They went to the temples to work. They were the plumbers, the mathematicians, the scientists, the electricians, the carpenters, the doctors. Those sciences were held and performed by the priesthood, which were people that could study because they didn't have to go out and work the fields or haul their own water or whatever. They were totally supported by their people. So I think that knowledge has just been lost simply because once you go in and overthrow a civilization.
Well, a lot of civilizations are like companies in a lot of ways.
Yeah, then you burn their books because their magic, their science wasn't like your science. So you believed that it was devil worship or magic or whatever, and so you throw it all out, burn their books, replace it with what you think is real knowledge, and every time that happens, it just loses a whole lot more information. The knowledge keeps reducing.
I forget where this quote came from, but magic to you could be science to anyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Magic is just a word for something we do not understand. So I'm a little bit concerned with our knowledge base at this point.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof, yeah. We're no longer as smart as we used to be.
No, and there are a lot of things that factor into that.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely not just the knowledge that was destroyed after the overthrow of civilizations. It's everything. It's the suppression of knowledge found during these civilizations.
Absolutely. Tesla and Lee Skellnan both learned from a manual that was written in 1842, almost 100 years before either one of them. So it's there. We've been studying that manual for over a year now, and it's got some amazing things in it. It's a complete how-to manual for levitation, for power transmission, for power generation. It covers a lot of things. It covers thermal power, thermal electricity. It covers hydroelectricity.
Yeah, they were discussing this on Brain Food last night. They were saying that you only release the technology, or you only leak the technology that's outdated by at least 30 years.
Oh yeah, the government has kept us behind for forever.
I used to think it was smaller, about a decade, but 30 years does seem more accurate.
It really is. In 1985, I was in Louisiana in the back swamp, way away from all civilization, and we saw this black triangle slowly moving toward us about 200 feet above the trees, and it looked to be about the size of a football field, and it was huge. It was moving real slow. We could not hear it. It stayed with us for a couple of minutes, just moving in and sort of being there. And when it left so fast that it just looked like a streak going away from us. And we knew that it was a spaceship, that it was a flying saucer. But it wasn't. It was our stealth plane. So, yeah, and that was in 85, long before they released that sort of thing to the public.
Well, the suppression of technology is a big problem in the world, but just think what they have in their possession that they're waiting to unleash.
Oh yeah. It's terrifying. I know for a fact that our government has magnetic propulsion.
Hello?
Hello?
Ken, there's a lot of background.
Can you hear me now?
We can, but we can barely hear anything else.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Major background noise, Ken. Are you there? Now I can.
Larry?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't think he can hear us.
Ken, can you hear us? Hello, Ken.
I don't even see Ken in the Skype call.
Maybe he just dropped.
But where's the...
There he is.
This is Ken.
Hello, Ken. Can you hear me?
Howard, can you hear me?
We can hear you, but evidently you cannot hear us.
Showing connected. I could hear you guys.
Are you there?
Now I can't hear you.
Now you can. Okay, we could hear you, but evidently you couldn't hear us. Now we don't have all that background noise as well, so that's good.
I don't hear him anymore. I think we lost him.
Probably.
Alright, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all those listening who just got their ears pierced. But
let's see, where were we?
Suppression of technology.
Oh yeah, technology has been suppressed forever. Just look at Stanley Meyer, who invented a hydrogen system for the car. His technology was suppressed. and he was murdered.
And the patent for the cure for AIDS. Most people don't even know it exists.
Exactly, and most people don't go in and look at patents from the patent office. That's a very fun thing that you could do.
Just go look up, Larry, I'm gonna butcher the number, so if you know what it is, 566, no, that's not right. Do you know it? Because I'm gonna end up leading to the wrong area. Just look up AIDS cure patent.
Look up what kind of patents?
The cure for AIDS patent.
I didn't catch that. One more time.
The AIDS cure patent.
HQR.
No, AIDS cure patent.
AIDS cure patent.
No. Okay, so we lost Larry. I'll call him back. Hey Larry, we lost you.
Okay. What patent am I looking up?
Not you. I was telling the listeners to look it up. You already know it's there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I guess I should have been more clear. So, but yeah, the suppression of technology is amazing. It's stunning what they can suppress and how easy it is.
Oh yeah. We've got all kinds of technology that the government's not letting us see or not letting us hear or whatever, and it just doesn't work. I mean, they can't keep it from us forever. There are scientists out there right now working in garages and basements and everything. Hello, Ken. Working in garages and basements and everything that just are being suppressed. They don't have the money to continue.
Can you hear me now?
We could hear you before.
Sorry, Ken. If you can hear me, sorry we had to hang up on you. Too much background noise.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay, I think this one's a lost cause, Larry.
I think so too. I'm trying to drop him out of the call here.
Okay, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
We apologize for the technical difficulties to Ken if he's listening and to all the listeners. But yeah, let's definitely continue.
You know, it's just being suppressed all the time, and there's nothing that we can actually do about it. If they don't want you to know it, they're not going to tell you, and that's a real shame. Simply because the world needs to know these things. Free energy is real.
It is.
And the government keeps suppressing it. The Department of Defense has a special department that looks at every single incoming patent application, and if it is anything to do with clean energy, free energy, self-renewing energy, they classify it as secret and eliminate it from the public knowledge.
Well, you're actually developing the technology, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we are, and we're developing it outside of the United States. We're doing this in Indonesia right now. That's the first place. So it's the third world countries that are going to accept this kind of power, and they're going to accept these things as being real, which they are. And once we power the third world, the people that are off the grid at this point, the rest of the world will see that it's a viable
Hello, hello, hello.
deal, and because of that, then maybe they'll accept it. Maybe not.
Hey Ken, we can't hear. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Keeps calling back in, and I don't get anything at all from it.
Larry, I'll just make a private call. Just don't.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get him back.
Okay, we're back.
All right.
So,
That should be the last break we'll have in this show. I apologize to all my listeners, and sorry, Larry. This is insanity.
yeah, really. Typical Larry with equipment, it just don't work.
It's all of us, man. Don't worry about it. But back to your technology.
Yeah, our technology, we've simply redesigned a coil, and like I said, it's a donut shaped, a toroidal shape, and we have a magnetic drive system, a magnetic induction system for each one of the coils. That's a two-part system. It's a stationary magnetic field and a rotating magnetic field that rotates inside of a magnetic bearing with a rotational speed of between 100 and 300,000 RPMs, depending upon the design of the stationary field. This will give us any voltage or amperage that we want out of the coil. We can produce 5 kilowatts, 5,000 watts, which is enough to operate a modest 3-bedroom home. We can produce that out of a coil that's, less than 18 inches around. So out of a 3-foot box, you can have enough power to power your home.
That's amazing, and it's amazing that the U.S. government will allow you to do this, even though it's outside of the country. We've seen foreign technologies suppressed by the U.S. government in the past. So it's surprising that you're getting to be able to do this.
Yeah, well, it's surprising to us too. We would be suppressed here in the United States, but over in the third world countries like Indonesia, they want us. Their government is for the people. Their police department is for the people. They help. They don't go out and beat up the general public like ours does, and they don't suppress knowledge. They want to clean their air. They want to provide power for people without having to stretch power lines over mountains or under seas to the islands. They're very receptive to our kind of technology. Very supportive.
And that's great to hear. Somebody needs to get this technology out to the world. And it's good that countries like Indonesia are accepting the technology.
Yeah, there are more countries than just Indonesia. That just happens to be where we've got our foot in the door first. South America is very receptive to us. The people in the United States are very receptive to us. It's just that our technology would endanger our lives in the United States.
It definitely would. And you don't even have to be a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist to agree with that. The suppression of technology is something that's well known by even the public, by those who don't consider themselves conspiracy theorists.
Exactly.
This doesn't take, that fact alone doesn't take a mind that's been fully awoken to the governmental conspiracy to wrap their head around it. All it takes is somebody with with even a somewhat open mind.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's everywhere. You can go and look up Tesla patents. You can read Coral Castle, read about Coral Castle in the magnetic books that Lee Scalnan wrote. Uh, the the information is out there everywhere.
Absolutely, but as we've discussed multiple times on this show, and as many truthers will say, those who need to know this information the most are the people that won't look for it.
Exactly. Exactly. People that say, well, I can plug into the wall and the power company's always going to give me power, so why do I have to worry about it? Well, just think, if you had that extra $100, $200, $300 of your electric bill every month, you could eat better. You could eat healthy food. You could go on vacation.
Dustin Fox does make a good point in the comment section. He says most people are well aware of it. People are waking up to it very fast, but I'm talking about in general, the people who need to know what's really out there won't look for it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's there, and there are many, many groups working on it. There are individuals working on it. Uh, I'd like to get on to some of the investors right now, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Investors, listen up. This is your call. There are people in the world that have a good handle on how to make free energy in many, many different ways. It's time to start supporting these people. If you are for free energy, you don't have to give thousands and thousands of dollars. Spread the word. Be an investor like that. Invest in your future by supporting your local inventors. If you see something that you don't think works, make it yourself and prove that it does not work. But if you can't prove that it does not work, don't be saying, oh, well, simply because it's free energy, that can't be real, or our government, as good as they are, would have already given it to us. That's not true.
Sorry,
For investors,
whenever somebody says the government's good, I get a really good laugh out of it. I'm sorry.
absolutely. It's just time for investors to wake up and realize that we are the future, and they need to support us and get on the bandwagon. Even the Rothschilds and the J.P. Morgans and all of those people that are into the existing power grids, if they don't get on board with the free energy people, their grid's going to be shut down, and they won't have any way to make an income.
And they won't have a way to control the globe like we know they wish to.
Exactly.
This will be just another strategic move.
And that's why the free energy people are actually in peril, is because the rich corporations will send hitmen. They don't want their empire to be crumbled. They don't want to have free energy. J.P. Morgan's statement to Tesla was, if I cannot charge for it every month, I don't want to support you.
And they took down Tesla after that. J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds defeated Nikola Tesla.
Yes, they did. And he died a poor man. And that's the way most of the inventors today are. We're poor people living on a very limited income and don't have the finances to go global with our inventions. Free energy is there. There are thousands of ways to achieve free energy. Solar, water, thermal, uh, it goes on and on. Magnetic. Magnetic is you can move a magnet across a conductor and it generates electricity. That magnet doesn't have to be on a motor that you turn electrically. That magnet can be turned under magnetic energy and induce power into a coil. You don't have to have power to make power anymore. Yes, you do, but it doesn't have to be electrical energy. It can be magnetic energy or kinetic energy of any kind. So the answers are there, and there are many people that have some portion of the answer or a great portion of the answer. I know a lot of Tesla people that are powering their entire house right now with Tesla equipment. Uh, I just, it's something that needs to be out there. People need to wake up.
That's the message we always have to promote, because there is something going on, and there is technology being suppressed, and people just need to look for it. It's such a simple. We're not asking for you to be a rocket scientist. We're asking for you to be awake, be aware, and look things up, and do your own research.
Exactly. You know, now that we're in the atomic age, man has progressed real far above what we were back 2,000 years ago. So we think. 2,000 years ago, the Romans were using steam for power. 2,000 years later, here we are in the atomic age. We're so smart. And all we've done with the atom is make a hotter fire for our steam engines. Where are we? What kind of intelligence is that? It's time to move into the 21st century and away from these antiquated power systems. And we can do it. Everybody can do it. It's easy. We don't have to make power dangerously anymore. We can make it real safe. We can do it where it doesn't hurt anyone. Tesla power goes through the air. The air is energy. The earth is negative. The sky is positive. And we as people and things on the earth, the trees, the grass, and everything are the capacitors that use that energy. So it's here. It's around you. You can look outside and see the trees moving in the breeze. That's generating power, and it's usable power. A tree can be used as an antenna with the earth providing power for that system.
Absolutely.
So we have the knowledge. We have the technology. Maybe it's not in the general knowledge, but there are a lot of people that have the same knowledge that can use it. We know how to make an earth battery. We know how to use a tree for an antenna. We know how to make a coil now that is efficient. Our coils, just because of the style and the magnetic field that they produce, we can put 30 amps into wire rated for 7.5 amps. And that's enough to melt that wire under existing conditions. But all it does to ours is raises the temperature 5 degrees. Negligible. So there are solutions. And we haven't done anything magic. All we've done is allowed the wire to carry the amps that it is able to carry, not what man has restricted it to. through misdesign.
It's not misdesign. It's what they made it that way because, like J.P. Morgan said to Nikola Tesla, if I can't charge for it monthly, I don't want it. So
I believe that. A transformer today, the very most efficient that the common man can buy, is 60% efficient. That means they get 40% more for their power than what it's worth and what they're actually giving you, because they're wasting 40% of it just through design and through heat. So that's not efficient, but it could be. With our design, it's efficient. So you get everything out of the wire that it could possibly do.
absolutely.
Man is ready to move on. The
Mhm.
general public is ready to move on, move out of the steam age.
But as long
Yeah, the steam age is right along there with just learning how to use levers.
as people like the Koch brothers and J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds and Rockefellers stand in our way of this, it will not become a reality unless you go through the third world countries like Indonesia, like South America.
Yeah, and that's a real shame. I like America. I like the American people. I like the country. It's just the powers that be here don't like us.
You know, they like money, they like their corporations, and that's with both sides of that's with both sides.
Yeah.
That's why it won't become a reality unless you go around them.
Exactly. Yeah, we just can't do that. I mean, it's too dangerous for us in the general public.
And like you were saying about the Department of Defense, they're the main people standing in the way of this.
Oh yeah, sure. That's because our country is run by the corporation rather than by the people.
Absolutely. And somebody needs to stop that because this is just one example of what they're suppressing. We could have a golden age tomorrow if we unlocked their box.
Oh, absolutely.
We could have all the cures for every disease that they've ever manufactured. We could have free energy. We could create almost a perfect technological society if we just open their box of tricks. But they won't let us because that will get rid of their profit.
Yes, that's right. We can go to all electric transportation, whether it be land, sea, or air. That can be all electric. We don't need any gas. We don't need any kind of fossil fuel to do this with. We don't need to keep having a steam engine to run our boats.
We don't need to keep destroying the earth to do what we do every day.
Exactly.
But because these corporations wouldn't be able to make a profit, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, we'll never see it.
That's the way it is, unfortunately. But now that people are waking up, eventually enough people will be awake that we will force our governments to accept a different type of energy.
And I believe that the day that enough people wake up is the day that shit will hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is the day that they will move their final pieces.
Yep. We're mad and we're not going to accept it anymore.
There's actually a group I'm associated with called MAD that they're trying to fight chemtrails right now, but I think they'd really get behind this. I'll have to put you in contact with them. They'd definitely get behind this.
I know people now that have technology to neutralize the chemtrails. They can neutralize all of the bad stuff, all of the radioactive things, and the aluminum and all that can be neutralized, and that is electronically. Um, there are so many things that you can do with frequency. Frequency, like Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, it's frequency. Basically, is what he said. And vibration is frequency, harmonics is frequency, hertz is frequency, cycles is frequency. Everything in the universe, from a photon to the universe itself, vibrates, is electric and magnetic all at the same time. So all we've done basically is learn how to tap into that power that's literally everywhere. And there are many people doing it in many different ways, both electronically and mechanically. You can counter rotate a set of magnets and generate electricity. That's what we're doing. We're simply rotating a magnetic field inside of a conductor.
You're simply harnessing what's in the universe.
Yeah.
You're not doing you're not creating energy. You're harnessing. You're harnessing what they say isn't there.
And we are magnetically transferring that energy into the wire. That's all. That's magnetic induction.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that they can suppress this knowledge, even with people like you bringing it to countries around the globe. It's amazing they can still suppress it.
Well, that just shows how much power that we've allowed them to accumulate.
And that's the real shame, that we allowed them to accumulate all this power.
Well, when I was young, we had anti-monopoly laws.
I think we still have them, but the government only selects which monopolies they'd like to take down. And usually it's the monopoly that doesn't donate enough to the government or stands in the way of one of the big corporations like J.P. Morgan, Chase, Coke Industries, or others, Caterpillar, Halliburton.
All of the major corporations, they've taken over the world through lobby groups. And lobby is simply a new word that we created when we outlawed graft. Graft means paying off a politician to get done what you want done. If you're a politician now, your lobby group will get you $50,000 or $100,000 a month continuously. And quite literally, if somebody's going to give me that kind of money on a regular basis and they walk up to me one day and say, "Hey, Larry, vote this way on this bill for me," I probably would. You can't be bought over and over and over again and not expect to have to repay the favor at some point. So that has got to be eliminated from our governmental system.
If you do bribery in the private sector, you'd go to jail.
Yeah, but lobby is just a new word for bribe.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as good lobbying. No lobbying can be beneficial because the people aren't making the decision.
Well, the way I see what lobby should be is, I personally want to lobby for free energy. So I'm allowed to go to the politicians that make the standards laws and present what I have to them. That's what I call lobbying. I shouldn't be able to go to them and give them $1 million and say, "Now accept me for public use." No. that shouldn't be the way it should be. They should make the decision based on what I have told them, not what I've given them.
Hmm.
That's what I think lobbying should be.
Oh, in today's state, in today's state of government, if you went to the government and paid them $1 million for, let's say, free energy, like you were saying, I think you would either be left out or the DoD would come after you, because those corporations will pay $2 million to see that never happen.
Exactly. And, until we stop that sort of thing, then our civilization is not going to progress. And the schools, this Common Core garbage. I've got a friend that just graduated from high school this year.
I'm still in it.
He does not know how to use a pencil and paper to do math. He knows what buttons to push on a calculator to achieve his result. And that's not good.
I don't know how to use a calculator. I only use mental arithmetic.
Absolutely. If you can't do it on paper or can't do it the long way, you don't know how.
Yeah, and I can speak for speak from experience. I'm still in the Common Core system. In the Common Core system, they teach you the test. I had a teacher who, my math teacher actually, gave us a study guide, and then the next day we had a test. It was the same sheet as the study guide, but this one was graded.
Yeah, they give you all the answers. You remember the answers overnight. You take the test, you pass the test, and forget everything you've learned.
And I don't think that's how it should be. I actually try to learn the stuff without. I just want to learn it. I almost failed biology, but I learned a lot from it.
Everything we do is better with practice.
Absolutely.
Repetition.
That's the whole bit. I thought that was the whole basis of math.
I'm a martial arts instructor, and nobody can do it the very first time efficiently.
No, nor should you expect them to be able to.
Exactly. Yeah, just like in martial arts, the rest of the world, you've got to do something over and over to be proficient at it. And the way they school them now is just like you said, learn it the night before, take the test, and then move on, go to something else that you don't understand.
But back to free energy, because I think we're losing people now. But on the topic of free energy, what do you have coming up in the future?
We have individual air cars. A car that will handle 2 to 4 people, that has 4 engines that are directional, it's all electric. It's going to be the future of personal transportation. We're working on personal overhead rail system that is highly portable. It can be set up anywhere very economically, and it's a single car that will allow up to 4 to 6 people at this point, with a little luggage area, so you can go rapidly from one place to another without having to deal with traffic, and without creating all the pollution that's being created now. All the catalytic converters that we have now are putting more sulfuric acid vapor into the air than they're taking carbon monoxide out. That's what's causing acid rain and literally causing the black forest, the oldest forest in the world, to die. So there are solutions. We're working on a tube train system that the individual personal car is transported magnetically through a tube to your destination. This is also a very economical system.
Don't they have that? And I heard something about that a while back in March, February. It's being developed, and it's said to be faster
That's the
than
new
an
company
airplane.
that we've just started working with.
Oh wow! I saw that in mainstream media. I wonder how that happened.
Well, it's simply because they're using existing technology up to this point. And when our technology is incorporated with it, it will not be advertised. We will just be a component of their system. That's how we're getting around that. But then once that system gets to operating and people can see what the coil is, then they will reproduce our coil. So we'll basically be out of the running at that point. At that point, it'll be whoever has the best advertising or the best copyright. And anything can be changed a little bit to get past that sort of thing.
Well, I'm certainly interested in the tubes. I'm hoping, yeah, actually, you guys would probably be better wheelchair repair people than my wheelchair repair people.
With our generator, we can lighten your chair and eliminate the battery, and your chair will operate for about 300 years until the magnets wear down.
That's amazing. I've had it for 3 years, and they've come out about 3 times to repair the battery.
Yeah, that's our technology today is based on throwaway or replace parts. We don't have anything that lasts, and that's what our group is trying to do away with. We don't want return business unless you simply want more power. We don't want to maintain your system. We have made a system that is maintenance free. The thought of enslaving someone monthly so that you can get a return monthly out of it is totally ludicrous. If you can't develop something that will last, then I don't believe that you've developed anything that's useful. And that may just be because I'm an old man and don't want to fix anything or lubricate anything or call a repairman. I want something that I buy one time, hook it up, and forget about it. But I'm lazy. We've got our generator and our coils. The coils have nothing that can go wrong with them unless you put way too many amps into them, and then of course, like anything else, they'll burn up. But right now, you can get 3 times the rated amperage out of a conductor with a 5-degree temperature rise, and that's unheard of. 3 times the rated amperage will normally melt the wire. So all we've done is eliminated the bad stuff that limits the wire and allow it to do what it can do.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting.
Yeah, the answers are there, and like I've been saying, there's lots of people that have the answers. Just go on YouTube and put in free energy and see what you come up with. Some of it works on a small scale, like for 1 LED. Some of it will work for a room. Some of it will work for your whole house. You just have to look at it, decide what you want to do with it, and do it yourself. The deal with free energy is that most everybody out there can do it. Free energy is a simple thing. You don't have to be a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist to get free energy. It's a matter of looking at nature, reading things from the ancient past, and putting it all together. You can develop your own, or you can do Tesla stuff. The patents are all free. They're there. Look up a patent, reproduce it, and there you've got free energy. Tesla's stuff works for the most part. Now, excuse me, Tesla was like most of the other scientists around. We all put a little bit of something that's wrong in our drawings so that we can sort of keep them to ourselves. But experiment with it. All of Tesla's stuff works. Some of it has a spark gap on the wrong side of the capacitor. That's an easy thing. Look at it, pay attention to what you're doing, and put it in the right place. It's really pretty easy. The patent that Tesla had for his lightning generator that he showed in the World's Fair, that has the spark gap on the wrong side of the capacitor, of the wrong side of that circuit. And he did that just because, and that's the actual diagram for the machine that he showed. But the machine he showed simply generated lightning, and it consumed a great deal of power. You put that spark gap on the other side of the capacitor, and rather than making those gigantic sparks, it charges your system with it and gives you free energy. With a little bit of input, you get a lot of output. So, and the Wardcliffe Tower, it wasn't generated off of a power grid. It was an earth battery system taking power right out of the ground, just like the pyramids. So this stuff is out there. There's a lot of people that are waking up to the fact that it's real, that it can be done easily on a personal basis. You don't have to have somebody else do it for you. You can do it yourself. It's really just read some diagrams. Learn how to read an electrical diagram, a schematic. That's an easy thing. The only thing that freaks people out about schematics is squiggly marks. And on the bottom of a schematic is a little list that shows you all those little squiggly marks and what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get intimidated because it's a symbol that you don't know. Look it up. Now that we've got the internet, nobody should have any questions about anything. Unless you're just too lazy to look it up or can't find it.
Mm.
I think the main thing that we need to do these days is to open people's eyes to the fact that there is free energy, that energy is all around us in everything. Everything has some sort of frequency. That rock out on the street has a frequency. It vibrates. Just because our perception doesn't see the vibration does not mean it's not moving. That's our limited perspective, our limited perception. It doesn't mean that these things aren't doing something. Everything is doing something. Except me, and I'm just sitting here right now.
And me. All I do is sit here.
Yes, but you can multitask. You can sit and talk at the same time. The energy thing, we just need to accept the fact that we're not being told the entire truth. We need to accept the fact that in school what we learn is only part of it.
Mm.
And we've got to go out and search for our own answers. Question everything. I'm an old beatnik and a hippie from the 60s, and that was sort of our password, is question everything, question authority, question information. If you don't think it's real, find out. Do it yourself. Prove that it's not real, or prove that it is real. Don't be like these people that say, well, you have to achieve a higher state of being before this will work. No. If it doesn't work for everybody, it doesn't work. You can't just say that it works because you're a spiritual being and won't work for anybody else. That's a hoax. That's not real. And there are people claiming that some of these machines do wonderful things, and other people that have tried to reproduce the same machine and not gotten anything out of it. There are coils out there, electrical coils, that claim that they're made on vortex math, and vortex math doesn't say anything at all about the way they're making them, and their coils are not over unity. Their coils, sometimes they can get like a few milliamps more out than what they put in, but that's just because of the counter EMF that they're producing. They're just recapturing the bad stuff that they're making, and that's not an efficient coil. In fact, some of them will kill you. They put out so much ozone. Some of these coils would be excellent for pest control. They kill bed bugs and roaches and people. So, any electrical coil will do something. Some of them are more efficient and some of them are dangerous. But some of them do wonderful and what we would term these days magical things. So our magic will be suppressed by the Romans that come in and conquer us and burn our books. We are the witches and the wizards of today, and there is an existing witch hunt going on very actively right now. They're trying to put us back in the dark, I think, or at least keep us in the unenlightened age. What do you think, Don?
They definitely want to keep us back because it's the same thing with the medical industry. The suppression of the cure, the search for it is more profitable. The search for free energy and the suppression of free energy are more profitable than free energy.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yeah, when they can control all the money and all of the projects and that, then they're going to keep us down just like they have for the past hundreds of years. It's time to reorganize the power structure. But that's something else. People want to do away with the power structure to be right now, and that's a good thing. But we are not prepared to do that.
Not yet. You have to make more preparations.
Free energy, yes. But can we provide that on a massive scale? No, not at this point. We can change the world, but we can't change the world yet because we don't have the infrastructure set in place to replace the outdated infrastructure that we have now. So, and until we as a people get it together and provide some sort of alternate infrastructure to be able to distribute all of our knowledge, like the internet does, but the physical knowledge, then we won't be able to take over. We won't be able to change the world for a better place. And until people get up off their backside and figure out that there's a cheaper way than plugging into the wall, then they're not going to get it. It's not going to be free because they're going to continue to accept the way that it is. Be burdened, be shackled to the power company. Be afraid to leave your lights turned off. Be afraid to have a little Tesla collector that can light up a fluorescent tube in your home for light instead of turning on that switch. These things are there. They're available now, but we've got to do them. And the more people that do it, the more people that get their house off of the grid, the better off we're going to be. With our equipment, if you stay hooked up to the grid, you will be producing enough energy to run your house. You'll have some left over that the grid system will have to buy from you, because that's the way the system is set up. And something else about the grid system, just so that your listeners will know, your power, the power company has to have a specific amount of power available to you so that their system won't go down. How they figure out how much that is they bill you on a 30-day cycle. Out of that 30 days, they take your 15 minutes of highest consumption over that 30-day period. And that's what they have available for you. And that's what they charge you for as your base charge. Anything you use over that is paid for at a premium. So if you turn everything off and leave everything turned off until you actually need to use it, then you won't have that high of a power bill. Something else, all of our electronic equipment produces what they call odd harmonics. An odd harmonic goes in opposition to power flow, creates heat, causes your device to use more amperage than is necessary. Okay? All of your odd harmonics leave your house after you produce them and go to your neighbor down the transmission line. And each neighbor's harmonics are added to the next neighbor. So the first guy gets his power pretty cheap, but the last guy on that line that's got all the odd harmonics from every, he has to pay twice as much for his power as that first guy. So these are things that the power company don't tell you that can be corrected through a simple inductor capacitor system on your house. You can eliminate all of the harmonics created by your neighbors. And if you're far enough down the power line, it will reduce your bill by up to 50%. Not only that, it will increase the efficiency of all of your equipment, making it last longer. So there's a lot of things that we can do to help out now, but they're not letting us know simply because they make more money with us not knowing. It's all about greed. It's all about greed. Our ultimate goal is to have enough of our product online that we can sell it for a percentage of what you make, a percentage of your income rather than a specific rate. If you make $1 million a year, I want $20,000 for a generator. If you make $5 a year, I want a penny. It's that simple. And that's the way we've got to start doing things. That's the way the world has got to progress in order for everybody to be able to have it. Money is our downfall. Money is an object in our way. It's not a tool, it's a stumbling block.
Absolutely.
Time for me to get down off my soapbox and go back to free energy. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Free energy is available. Free energy is in the sky. Free energy is in the ground. It's just a matter of getting it, tapping it. You can make a simple earth battery out of a ground rod. You get 2.4 volts potential from moist earth. You get 1.6 volts potential from dry earth. It's there. It's under your feet. It's in the ground, and it's at a frequency of 432 cycles. We are there. We have the abilities. We have the knowledge. It's free. Literally free everywhere around you. You're sitting in an ocean of potential. Everything is waiting to achieve a charge, waiting to attract another element, another molecule of some sort to create mass. Everything is waiting to happen. The places that are full of stuff, some of that potential energy has been used. That's what matter is, the use of potential energy. It's everywhere. I believe that pretty much covers almost everything that I know about free energy at this point.
Yeah, it kind of does. At least everything I know about it.
We just need to work together and everybody open one other person's eyes. If you know how to do something, whether it's plant a garden or build an engine, if you know how to do something, get young people to at least watch what you're doing. If they're interested in it, let them have some hands-on experience at it. Teach the young anything they want to know. Get them involved in it. Make it interesting for them. Get your hands dirty. Do something. Share your knowledge. That's what we're here for. We can't be stingy with what we know. We can't keep it all to ourselves. We can't say, oh, well, I won't make any money if I tell you how to do it. Well, everybody can make money.
You just gotta know how.
That's it. Everybody in the world knows something that I do not, and I want to know what they know. That's the attitude that we should have. That and present the attitude you wish to receive. Maybe then we can be happy with one another. It's a big world, a lot of people. The people in the other parts of the world that we are conditioned to hate and fear because they're different or have a different culture or different religion than we do, that's hogwash. Everybody that I have met that was not from the United States felt exactly the same way about their family, about surviving, about having enough to eat. We are all the same. It's our governments that put the wedges and the blocks between us.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to fear one another rather than love one another. Love is where it's at. And you got to start by loving yourself. Accept yourself for who you are. If you don't like what you see, you are the one that can change it. We are simply a product of our decisions. Make the right ones. We all know right from wrong. We all know what decisions should be made. Just make the right ones. You know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And move away from steam power.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad that we got the opportunity to talk for a while today.
As am I. It was a fun conversation.
I think that we can all help out, and young people especially. You guys are the future of the world. I know my generation was supposed to fix everything. Well, we messed up and didn't get it done. So it's up to you. It's up to all of us to do what we can in our own little way to make the future better for everyone.
I'll do everything in my power, and this is my way of helping people. I know some will say this is insignificant, but the information war is the war we have to win to go to the next two.
It's very significant, the work that you're doing. you're providing this information for your listeners, and it's up to them to use it. You're doing your part. Now it's time for your listeners to do their part.
I can only help in a mental capacity and with my voice. So if you guys want to see a big change, then I can't always. I won't be able to be there for at the end. I'll be there at the end, but this is where I can help. Now it's your turn to carry the torch.
Exactly. And it's working. It's working. People are waking up more and more each day. They're getting tired of the way it is, and they're trying to figure out ways to change it. It's just a matter of opening your eyes, looking around, doing a little research. If you think it'll work, make it for yourself. That's why it's on YouTube. That's why it's there, so that people can try it themselves. Just go out and make a free energy device. A magnet, a battery, and a piece of copper wire will make you a little thing turn on its own forever. So there's it's there. It may not produce all of the energy that you want, but there's free energy everywhere. You can make a capacitor out of a beer bottle and some liquid and a piece of wire. So
If it's
there
that,
you go, another use for a beer bottle.
if it's that simple, then people can just do it. People need to do it because uh, people who spread the word, like myself, can only, like I said, carry it so far.
Yeah, and you can charge up these capacitors, and sure, they won't last for a real long time, but if you've got enough of them, they will. So save your beer bottle. You know, you can generate hydrogen on board on demand for your car. That'll let it use 30 to 50% less gasoline. That will reduce the emissions coming out of it. It will give you more power in your car. So it's there. It's available. It's only up to us as to what level we use it.
And I'd recommend using it to the highest level you can, because the more free energy there is, the less these energy companies like Coke Industries and all the others who control them, uh, the less they can do, and the less they can strangle us.
Coca-Cola is an excellent product for removing rust off your tools.
It's scary that people put that into their system.
Pour a little Coke on your battery terminal. It'll clean all the corrosion off of them. Put a real copper penny next to that negative terminal on your battery, and that will draw all of the corrosion to that penny and keep it completely off of your battery terminal. These are things that should be being done, and folks just either ignore it or aren't aware of it.
And those who become aware of it, some don't even believe it. Some will write you off as a lunatic or a conspiracy theorist, or say that the government would have given it to us by now.
Those are the people with their head in the sand.
And those are the people that we're fighting to save.
That's it. Yeah, we've got to save the dummies along with the smart folks. And I'm just calling them dummies because they won't open their eyes. They accept the way things are now.
If you're one of the people that accepts how things are in the world and doesn't want to change it and doesn't see the problem, then at least stand out of the way while we try to clean up this mess. Don't be one of the people that will stand against us.
Yeah, don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution.
Or if you can't find it in yourself to be part of the solution, definitely don't be part of the problem.
Exactly. We're all in this together. It's either sink or swim, and Mother Nature's going to start fighting back one of these days real soon.
Even if we don't worry about the enemy or the threat of Mother Nature turning on us, all you have to do is look up what the American government and the Western nations and look up things like them and look up New World Order and Bilderberg. These guys are everywhere. These guys are going to cause us major problems, whether you're awake and aware or you're asleep.
I see those people as the destroyers of the world.
They will be. Oh, who? The people that are asleep or the New World Order?
The New World Order. Yeah, I see them as the destroyers. The people that want to keep us under their shackle, under their rule. It's time we moved on.
It's time we fought back. It's time we rose up.
I agree, but it can't be a violent thing because they have all the power.
They
have all the guns.
War is not always violent. Revolutions aren't always violent. It could be a revolution of ideology. It could be a monetary revolution.
Yeah. We've got elections coming up. It's time to vote everyone out that's either a Democrat or a Republican because they are both the same these days. Put in liberals, independents, whatever else that's out there. Your local businessman that's trying to get into regional and local politics. Elect these people. Get them in.
Voting. I'd love to believe that voting works, but when you have the people in charge controlling the voting system, how can you expect it to work unless it's one of their cronies?
Well, when Obama can have more votes from dead people in a district than there are people that are registered to vote, our voting machines don't work.
Exactly. So we can't even vote these guys out. We can't even win in the voting ring. We can only win in terms of we can only win this battle in the ideological and monetary revolution.
Yeah. Which means that we have to have a system in place to replace their system. And until we organize ourselves and quit fighting amongst the people that are right-handed as opposed to the people that are left-handed, or the people that's got green eyes as opposed to the people that's got blue eyes, what difference does it make? We're all people. It's time to work together.
Well, Larry, I fear a violent overthrow of the United States in the near future because people are getting fed up. And when people get fed up, we know what happens. We know people start acting rash.
Yeah. We've had all we can take. We're not going to take any more.
And whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that there may be a violent revolution coming, I still firmly believe it's coming. I don't believe that violence is ever good, but when we can't win in the voting, in the voting booth, and we can't win in the monetary system, how can we win in the ideological revolution either?
That's it.
When they have all the chips on their board, what's there left to do but throw the board?
That's it. You got to throw the board away.
What's there left to do? I mean, I'd love to be able to end this a good way without violence, but I really don't. I don't know what we can do when they have all the chips on their board.
Well, it's a hard thing. We're just going to have another system ready to replace the one that we've got now.
Yeah, and you also have to fear what could try to rise to power during that time. We don't want another Adolf Hitler.
Well, if they were to put, say, martial law into effect, and try to control everybody. Okay, I'm going to revolt against that. I'm going to get out my weapons and fight against that. Well, that's a wonderful thing, but it just won't work because they're going to bring their tanks down the road and blow my house completely away, and then all my neighbors are going to kowtow and bow down to them and accept what they have to say because they don't want to get blown away.
Well, I see it as I kind of see it as we're kind of screwed. I mean, we can't win in a violent overthrow. We've agreed on that. We can't win in a ideological revolution. We can't win at the voting. We can't win in a monetary battle. What can we do?
We can only win in the energy wars right now. And once the people with the free energy get out there and show to the world that it's a possible thing and a good thing, then maybe we can move from free energy to free government or free something, freeing ourselves rather than staying under this shackle, this yoke of tyranny that we're under right now. I don't know. It's just a matter of getting together and stopping the hate. If we can learn to get along with everybody, learn to not care that somebody else has got green eyes as opposed to our blue eyes, not care that somebody's got blonde hair rather than black hair. These things don't matter. What matters is loving your children, loving your family, loving your neighbor, getting along with everybody, not trying to impose your will on somebody. Be like me or die is a concept that I cannot live with. If I have that choice, I want to die. I am an individual. We all are individuals. We all have our own ideas about the way things should be. Just get along. Just let everybody have their own opinion. If you don't think my equipment works, that's fine. I don't care. It may hurt me a little bit that you don't believe me, but if you don't believe it, make it yourself and prove that it doesn't work and expose me as the fraud that I should be. You know, that's what we've got to do. We've got to expose the frauds, whether they're in government or in science
Or in the truth movement.
or in troop movements. We've got to expose the frauds and carry on with life.
Larry, I know you have to go soon. So, do you want to wrap this up and continue another day?
Well, we can wrap this up now and continue on some more later. I would like to once again state that share your knowledge, get somebody involved in something that you can do. If you write poetry, get somebody to listen to your poetry. If you write books, get somebody to read your book. You know, it's you don't have to make free energy. You don't have to do something that's earth shattering. Share what you know. Get people involved with it. Open people's eyes to the fact that free energy and a better world is out there. Try to get along. Love your neighbor. That's all. I'm done.
Alright. Well, we'll be back in a little while, if that's alright with you, Larry, or we'll be back tomorrow.
Either way you want to do it.
Okay, what time would you be available today or tomorrow?
I've got a 6 o'clock tonight. Other than that, I should be available most of the afternoon.
Okay, I will not be around from 5 until about 7:30 Eastern, so that would be about 6:30 your time. We can do this again at 8 o'clock Eastern time and 7 your time if that's good with you.
It'd probably be more like 8 my time before I'll be loose.
Okay, then we could only be able to do an hour again, because I'd have to go at about 10:30, which would be 9:30 for you.
Yeah, that'd be fine. We can do that.
Okay, that sounds good. This is one part of I guess half a part of a 5-part mini-series that I'm going to be doing on free energy and Nikola Tesla. I'll be having on more people in different stages of the research in the next few weeks. Scientists that are maybe further along or a little bit behind where Larry is at. So I hope you'll tune in for that. The second one will be up tonight. In about 5 hours, we will be live on that. You have been listening to the Truth Speaks Network. Please subscribe for more content such as this. When I hit 100 subscribers, I'll be able to use more professional features such as call-in lines. I'll be able to put pictures up, and I'll be able to edit audio and video in post-production, which YouTube does not allow me to do at this moment. So, please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this is The Truth Speaks, signing out.